Good morning, everybody. My name is Osa. It is Saturday morning after Thanksgiving, and we're back in FS19 on Oakfield Farm. So, Thanksgiving Day, we bought this field, finally. We did have to borrow a little bit of money from the bank in order to achieve that. A little bit, 120,000. The field itself is worth just under 600. So we borrowed 20% of the value. Not an extremely big deal, I would say. So we ploughed it. We've obviously put lime down on it, and what we're doing now is cultivating it ready for seeding. I'm pretty sure I do not have nearly enough digestate to cover this field. I could consider it, see how far we get. But if we don't get the full field covered, then we're going to be a little bit of a problem when it comes to getting the entire field fertilised. I don't have enough spare cash right now. Since Thursday, I did borrow a little bit more, and we've got a new shed put in on the lower plot, so we can store a little bit more of our machinery under cover. And I had to service the class Axion, which cost an arm and a leg. Well, nearly 2,000. But for right now, it's day 5 late winter. I have not looked up prices on sunflowers or projections for prices on sunflowers. We'll tidy that up when we finish off. So yeah, one day of late winter. I will, while it's been mild and technically we could get away with planting sunflowers, I'm kind of not looking at that. Because we are right on the borderline of losing crop if it gets much colder. However, spring's on the horizon, so I may just look at it and say, well, we'll wait to spring and we'll put the sunflowers in then. It's not going to cause a big problem when it comes to the harvest, because we're still putting them in much earlier than you would on most climates. Kept this fairly straight, which is unusual for me. I do like the look of that grass field up there too. Although I think if we start going more heavily into grass silage, I might use the bunkers less. And get some bale wrappers for just doing wrapped bale silage instead. I've been avoiding that for the most part because we're really set up for a square bale and really only hay, and that's it. The straw we sell, hay we keep for the sheep, but yeah, most everything else we're really not that set up for. But if we got ourselves a bale wrapper, we could start doing what is it? The baling contracts with our own equipment. Which would increase the farm income over time, because there are a number of baling contracts out there that we're just not getting involved with because we don't have the equipment. It's bale wrapper probably going to set us back about 100,000, and right now this minute we obviously don't have that cash available. But we do have the sunflowers to sell. Plus, end of spring we'll have wool. We're about to have a lot of sheep on the farm. They've already started. I think we're up to about 220 from 203. And come fall, we'll be looking at least divesting ourselves of the boy sheep, so there's enough room for next year's newborns. I think right now the farm is doing very well. This field will be awesome for income next year. Field itself has been fallow for at least 2 years, possibly more. The crop in it, I think, was either potatoes or sugar beets, but had withered before we even moved into the area. So obviously, field's been quite badly neglected. But then technically having a crop in it, that's protected the topsoil. Just need to get the land used to producing again. And I still don't think we're, while I would like another medium tractor just to be pottering around with, or a self-propelled sprayer, but even those are incredibly expensive. If we got a sprayer, we could take the Valtra. Yeah, we could sell the spray tanks that are currently on the Valtra for 90% of the year. Use the Valtra as our second mid-sized tractor. At the moment it's really dedicated for crop protection and fertilising. Although our spreader is kind of heavy. The fence struggled with the spreader, but it's the big one. We bought it just for liming. Not that we lime our fields particularly frequently, but next year is going to be a big one because all of our original fields will need to be limed again. So that takes some working. I did mess up on the liming. I did that off camera, and the spreader was set to was it 0 litres per acre So I put lime on the headlands and didn't use any. So whoops. But that's okay, I think. We more than made up for it for the rest of the field. Hail team, good morning. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Saturday. How was your Thanksgiving? Ours was obviously small due to, well, not really due to the governor's instructions. None of our family live in the area, so it's not something we do. Although it's the first year we didn't get sort of a turkey roll breast thing, oven roast turkey thing. We did actually buy part of a turkey, so you could identify turkey parts on it, as opposed to it just being a roll of turkey meat that you roast. And previous years with two of us, that's more than adequate. Since we have an extra mouth to feed, we went for the part of quarter of a turkey, something like that. And I think we got enough. We only made enough that pretty much all of the leftovers were eaten yesterday, except for the turkey and the dinner rolls, which were homemade. Or at least the bread machine kneaded the dough, and then my wife put it into a bread pan and baked it in the oven. Unfortunately for us, last March we did have a bread machine, and it was old, and the yeast had died. My wife was on the way back from her stepmom's funeral, and I had to work. But I had her pick up some yeast, so she picked up some yeast because bread was just not available, along with all the toilet paper that was not available. And that wasn't, I did some internet shopping around and discovered pretty much everybody was out of yeast except for a Kroger, which is between us and Ohio. So I said, can you stop off and get some yeast? It sounds like they still have some. So she bought the yeast, we made a loaf of bread, and the bread maker died. So we needed a new bread maker, and of course they were all out of stock as well. But come summer, some of the retailers had some bread machines in stock, so we did buy a bread machine over the summer, just in case. And homemade bread's kind of nice. Still can't get an upright freezer. I think I've noticed, or should I say, Google has noticed that I'm looking up freezers. And so every so often I get emails from various retailers, Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, all saying, hey, we've got freezers in stock. And the problem is the freezers they have in stock are the ones that go under your kitchen counters. So they're about the size of a UK refrigerator. Or they're small chest freezers. They're not even big chest freezers, they're small chest freezers. Which is fine, but we kind of want an upright. So the only place you can get freezing is usually a combo fridge freezer. I don't need a combo fridge freezer in the basement. I just want a couple of freezers down there to put stuff in. Which would have been nice because our fridge has it's 4 doors, so it's French fridge freezer. So double doors on the fridge, and then the lower section has 2 doors. Left side is a freezer, and the right side can be a freezer or a fridge, depending on what setting you put on it. Now, obviously, for leftover Thanksgiving, it would be nice to be able to switch it over to a fridge for a few days. Unfortunately, I just bought a load of frozen stuff, so we have nowhere else to put that. I think back in June, there were rumours that freezers would be available in September. That never happened. And the latest rumour is round about March or April, maybe. So I don't know where all the freezers are currently going, but yeah, you move into a house and it is what it is. Now, in the process, we've had to replace, I mean, we've been here, February we moved in, so getting on for about 9 months. And so far we've had to replace the dishwasher that flooded into the kitchen. We've had to replace the refrigerator because the freezer drawer broke. We replaced the stove. The old stove, half the burners weren't working, so we replaced the stove. And the microwave died beginning of this month. So we've been without a microwave for most of the month, but then it was a case of, okay, we're coming up to Thanksgiving sales, so it's, it was one of those things, we need a new microwave. Thanksgiving's coming up, things are going to be on sale, so we'll wait until the sales happen and save some money on something we're actually planning to buy. As opposed to a lot of people who, oh, it's sales, I can save myself some money. No, you're actually spending money if you're buying stuff you don't really need. But, needed a new microwave, so we got a nice looking cheap one. I mean, all we really use them for is to heat up leftovers and heat up TV dinners. So it's not like it's not a big use thing. Plus, we don't eat that many TV dinners anyway. Am I off? Oh, I'm off by 5 degrees here. Well, okay. That should have been a 217 or 265. That's why I keep the map open. On Farm Sim 17, there was a nice little compass indicator that the top middle of your screen is a mod. And I used to use that all the time as a poor man's GPS. So that was available a couple of months after Farm Sim 17 came out. And really useful to just sit there and drive to 270 degrees. And you could get a very efficient seeding or cultivating whatever done. And then GPS came out, and it was months before I actually got into using the GPS because I was doing so well with the compass. Well, 19, the compass is now part of the game and on the map. And I am still 2 years in, not used to looking down at the map to check my direction of driving. This tractor does actually have GPS, but we're not wasting anything, so I'm not too fussed about doing this by eye. I do have Discord, yes. I'm actually on Arthur's Discord channel for the most part. I don't have my own Discord channel. I think if Mrs. Osa gives me permission to, say, run a multiplayer server or something like that, I may look at setting up my own Discord channel, just so that I can do things there and not worry about Arthur's people. Admittedly, a lot of my viewers are Arthur's people, but yeah. Anyway, so yeah, we now have a new microwave as well in the kitchen, but we need some freezers, and since we moved in, there have not been freezers at retail stores. Plus, we didn't have any electricity in the basement until was it last month we got the furnace done. And that we added a bunch of power outlets into the basement. Our contractor has installed the doors, but he hasn't come back to put the handles on them yet, so we're still waiting on that. I don't actually have to do a thorough job of this, because our cedar is a drill. However, if we go there, we're up to 240 acres cultivated. We need 7 more, and I think it's about 7 more. 247 is about about 100 hectares, which is what you need for the achievement, which is why I'm cultivating the lime in at this point. Do this little banjo at the bottom, and then we'll go back to the main rows up and down the field again. But we're turning in the lime, and then that's the next thing we have to do. We do have a good amount of rain, so that's good. I'm not sure whether the crops we already planted suffered from a lack of rain during the fall. My goodness, the spammers are out in force today. Hello, welcome to my ban list. Let's do that next. And thank you for playing. And the next one, please. harvest. Well, thank you for playing, people. In the meantime, back to cultivating the land. So I see as of this week, Ollies Farm is back producing videos. He's been out cultivating his fields. And he's got himself a telehandler for looking after the cows. But he's been out for a long time. From YouTube, he took the entire summer off. And I took up watching him because, hey, it's UK farming, how does that actually happen? Because the only examples I have locally are obviously American farms and how Americans do farming, and that's interesting and educational. But if I want to look like I'm actually farming on a UK farm, it kind of works better if you get some ideas from watching UK farmers doing their thing, or European farmers doing their thing. And there's lots of examples of American farming. You've got Welker, you've got Minnesota Millennial Farmer, and they're big arable farms. And so you can get a lot of ideas on how to make an American farm feel American. In my locality, the farms aren't quite so big. We have a guy running a 1990s Massey Ferguson harvester and an old, can't remember if it's a Massey tractor as well, with a gravity wagon for hauling his grain. He has the field by the church, but it's not big, a couple of acres, maybe 3-4. So don't really need big machinery for it. There's a couple of farmers that have some reasonable sized kit. The farmer down by where we used to live, his field was a fair size, typically corn or I think soybeans. But again, his equipment wasn't 15-meter seeders and what have you. It was more this size of equipment. He used to do hay, so his baler was an old 2000s model class baler. I think since I'm this close, I'll go to the edge.